Kamal Haasan's movie Thug Life will not release in Karnataka as part of its worldwide launch on June 5th. This after Kamal Haasan chose not to tender an apology for his statement that Kannada is born out of Tamil. Now, the Karnataka High Court has suggested that the actor apologize and put an end to the controversy, but he's refused to do so. Now, the court has said that you may be Kamal Haasan, but no citizen has a right to hurt the sentiments of masses. There are three things people are very emotional with. That's land, water and language. The High Court has highlighted that it was Kamal Haasan's ego speaking as he refused to apologize for his remarks. My colleagues also spoke to the actor Ramya regarding this whole row that's erupted. Listen in.
There were various other observations that were made by court, but one pertinent aspect here is that the petitioner, that is Kamal Haasan, the advocates representing him, has said that the response that was sent to the film chamber is the final response, though that didn't have the word sorry or an official apology. What do you make of this?
You know, I really like the closing remark that was made by Justice Naga Prasanna, where he said, discretion is the best part of valor. And I think that's so true in this case. You know, sometimes it's better to be cautious and wise than to just rake up an unnecessary controversy. I did read Kamal sir's letter also. I do see the sincerity, you know, where he's talking about his love and, you know, where he says that, you know, no language is dominant than the other and every language is equal. But as the court pointed out, there was no word like apology or sorry or anything like that. You know, I feel like it's the easiest thing for Kamal sir, I mean, to just say, you know, I'm sorry if I hurt your feelings, but I was misunderstood and this is what I actually meant. I don't know why it wasn't there.
This is exactly what the film chamber also said. I spoke to the president. He said that we got the letter. The letter justifies his comments, but it does not, you know, he does not use the word sorry there. In court as well, the advocate argued that it was in all sincerity that he wrote this letter, his appreciation for Kannada and all that, but that's the final word. So now they've decided not to screen the movie. Do you feel that this was quite an extreme or a knee-jerk reaction of sorts?
I think, you know, perhaps what Kamal was trying to say through the letter is, listen, I was misunderstood in the first place. It's not what I meant. And therefore, I don't need to apologize. But it's very clear, Deepak. He said those words that Kannada was born out of Tamil, right? And that's a factually incorrect statement. So he could have easily said that I have made a factually incorrect statement, right? And anyway, as far as his film not releasing, I think that's a call that the chamber and I think he and his team will have to have, as the court also said, they should have a trilogue, dialogue together and figure it out. That's for them. But I sincerely feel like you're a man of such a big stature, right? And you know, if you feel like something that you've said may have hurt people's feelings, whether you believe in it or not, I think you should be able to, you know, just say, I'm sorry.
The central government is preparing to initiate impeachment proceedings against Justice Verma, who is facing allegations of corruption after a discovery of a large amount of cash from his official residence in Delhi. Now, sources tell us that no separate inquiry committee will be required on this front and that a motion seeking his removal is likely to be brought up in the upcoming monsoon session of the parliament. And criminal action is likely after the impeachment as well. Here's what Arjun Meghwal had to say on the issue. Listen in.
इसकी जो अभी तो पोजीशन है वो ये है कि एक सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने अपनी इन हाउस कमेटी बनाई थी, उनकी रिपोर्ट आ गई। वो रिपोर्ट राष्ट्रपति जी को सुप्रीम कोर्ट के चीफ जस्टिस साहब ने भेज दी, प्रधानमंत्री जी को भेज दी। उसके बाद उस रिपोर्ट पे जो कार्रवाई है वो जो संविधान में प्रक्रिया दी हुई उसके तहत आगे होगी। अभी तो सत्र आएगा तब होगी, उससे पहले क्या होगा?
Clear that in the upcoming monsoon session, which is likely to begin in the second or the third week of July, the government will bring an impeachment motion to remove Justice Yashwant Verma from the office, and it's very important because a large amount of cash was recovered from his official residence. And after that, the Supreme Court had constituted a committee which had looked into all the allegations. And after the committee's report was submitted, that time the then Chief Justice of Supreme Court, he recommended to the President and also to the Prime Minister saying that Justice Verma should be impeached. So on that recommendation and on the basis of the committee's report, the government is now going ahead with the impeachment motion, and Parliamentary Affairs Minister, Mr. Kiran Rijiju, will be seeking consultation with all the opposition parties, because remember, to pass an impeachment motion in both houses of Parliament, 2/3 majority is required. That means a consensus among all the political parties is necessary. So Parliamentary Affairs Minister will try to hold consultation and form a consensus as far as the impeachment motion is concerned. And today a series of meetings took place to check out the strategy for the impeachment motion. Law Minister met Home Minister Amit Shah, and after that Leader of the House JP Nadda had a meeting with Mr. Amit Shah, and Mr. Shah also had a meeting with Prime Minister Narendra Modi. And after that Mr. Nadda and Mr. Shah had a meeting with the Chairman of the Rajya Sabha, Mr. Jagdeep Dhankar. So in all likelihood, the government will bring the impeachment motion in the upper house of Parliament in the upcoming monsoon session.
Now turning our focus to Tamil Nadu, where the government has sought interim stay on the Madras High Court order staying Vice Chancellor's appointments from the Supreme Court. Now the Tamil Nadu government had approached the Supreme Court challenging the Madras High Court's interim stay on amendments to VC appointments. The High Court had upheld the UGC regulations of 2018 to prevail via the doctrine of repugnancy. Now the state argues that the High Court stay amounts to final relief and violates settled constitutional law. My colleague Nupur Dogra decodes how this will impact appointment of Vice Chancellors in the state of Tamil Nadu. Listen in.
Very big development when it comes to the appointment of vice chancellors in the universities of Tamil Nadu. The Tamil Nadu government has today filed a special leave petition in the Supreme Court against the High Court order, whereby it had granted a stay on the act that was brought in by the Tamil Nadu government to ensure the appointment of vice chancellors. Remember, this particular act was in fact deemed passed by a Supreme Court, earlier Supreme Court order, whereby it had held that all the 12 bills which the governor has held back will now be deemed act. Remember, this judgment by the Supreme Court has in fact caused a huge controversy and debate over the powers of centre and states and the question of federalism. Now, on the same question of law, out of that question of law, this arises that the High Court has now ruled that that act was not valid and has stayed its operation. But now Tamil Nadu government has moved the Supreme Court. It has not only challenged this order of the High Court but has also sought an interim stay on the order. So if the Supreme Court gives that interim stay, then it could mean that the appointment of the Vice Chancellor would go ahead, as the Tamil Nadu government has said that it will, if the High Court order is allowed to prevail, it will amount to wastage of 2 years.
Now to the big story we're tracking from Kerala. Not a single case of the sexual harassment or misogyny that was reported in Malayalam cinema and mentioned in the Hema Committee report is going to be pursued legally towards a trial seeking conviction. Now the special investigation team that was tasked with investigating and pursuing legal action regarding the 35 incidents of sexual harassment and misogyny mentioned in the report has decided to file FAD of further action drop reports in all of them. The Hema Committee was appointed in 2017 and submitted its report to the government in 2019, but it was only on August 19, 2024 that a redacted version of that report was released, after which a special investigation team was formed by the Kerala government. Politics over Operation Sindoor continues, with leader of opposition Rahul Gandhi slamming Prime Minister Modi over the operations, making the jibe Narendra surrender jibe, saying that Prime Minister Modi had stopped the military operations after the intervention of US President Donald Trump. Quoting Mr. Gandhi here, Modi buckles under pressure and Indira Gandhi didn't buckle under anyone, not even in 1971. Let's listen in to what Rahul Gandhi said and the reactions coming in over his comments.
उधर से ट्रंप ने एक इशारा किया, फोन उठाया, कहा मोदी जी क्या कर रहे हो? नरेंद्र सरेंडर, और जी हजूर करके नरेंद्र मोदी जी ने ट्रंप के इशारे का पालन किया। 71 की लड़ाई में 7th फ्लीट आई थी, हथियार आए थे, एयरक्राफ्ट कैरियर आया था। इंदिरा गांधी जी ने कहा मुझे जो करना है मैं करूंगी।
प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी के नेतृत्व में भारत ने पाकिस्तान के आतंक के आकाओं को मुंहतोड़ जवाब दिया है, जिसके बारे में सलमान खुर्शीद से लेकर शशि थरूर से लेकर हर कांग्रेसी नेता भी कह रहा है और पाकिस्तान खुद प्रूफ दे रहा है। परंतु राहुल गांधी को इससे चिढ़ इसीलिए है क्योंकि राहुल को खुशी तभी महसूस होती है जब कांग्रेस पार्टी के नेता आतंकवादी हाफिज सईद को हाफिज सईद जी बोलते हैं और 26/11 आतंकवादी हमले के बाद में कांग्रेस पार्टी पाकिस्तान के पर हमला करने के बजाय डॉजियर खेलती है।
Now, leaders of the India Alliance met in the capital to present a united front and press for a special session of Parliament to discuss the developments following the terror attack of Pahalgam, arguing that it has stood by the government and supported its efforts in engaging with the international community on India's position. The government is not considering the opposition's demand for a special session of the Parliament on Operation Sindoor. Since the monsoon session will be held in July, sources say that there is no justification to hold a special session right away. The government had earlier asserted that the opposition had already been informed of all the facts at the all-party meeting on Operation Sindoor. My colleague Aishwarya Jain spoke to a host of MPs regarding this. Let's listen in.
With me, Samajwadi Party MP Rajiv Rai, who has just come back to India after visiting multiple countries, and he was a part of the multi-party delegation. Sir, thank you so much for speaking to NDTV. What was the outcome, and how successful do you think that the entire multi-country visit was?
Our job was to go to different countries wherever we have been sent and expose Pakistan, how they are harboring terrorists, how they are sponsoring terrorism, and how they are involved in the cross-border terrorism, which we did well.
This multi-party delegation that went was a correct decision of the government to isolate Pakistan?
See, we Samajwadi Party have been always standing with the government and army. If you recollect that surgical strike, Netaji was the first person to support army and government. When it comes to our national security, when it comes to our national pride, whatever decision government and army takes, we'll stand with them.
Lastly, sir, today India Bloc unitedly held a press conference and they have submitted a letter to Prime Minister Narendra Modi as well. Akhilesh Yadav himself was the one who told the parliamentary party that the letter should be written for a special session of Parliament. They demanded a special session of Parliament. Do you agree with that, and government should call?
Why they should not call? On their own they should have called, no? Why the elected representative have no right to know what is the truth? Where do we stand? And we may have to give some suggestion also. Where should we give? After all, we are elected representatives.
Will you be submitting report to the External Affairs Minister or going to meet Prime Minister?
We have not been asked to submit any report, but yes, Foreign Affairs Minister has called a debriefing meeting on 5th morning. Okay. We'll go there and see whatever we have had experience, we'll share with him.
Pahalgam was not individual pains of the families who lost the near and dear ones. ये पूरे देश की सामूहिक पीड़ा थी। पूरा देश हम की भावना से सोच रहा था, वी, और उसके बाद ऑपरेशन सिंदूर। हम की भावना से सोचने के बावजूद कुछ चिंता के लक्षण हुए तो प्रधानमंत्री जी से ये गुजारिश की गई है कि प्रधानमंत्री जी, इतिहास में ऐसे क्षण आते हैं जब आपके व्यक्ति को कोई चीज आहत करे ना करे, देश को आहत करता है, और जब देश आहत होता है तो संसद ही है, क्योंकि दलों के दायरे से ऊपर है।
16 parties have written a letter to the Prime Minister demanding, seeking, asking for a special session of Parliament.
Time for a short break. Lots more news and updates coming up on the other side. Stay tuned. Welcome back. You're watching NDTV 24/7. Now, India's economic strike against Turkey continues after Turkey backed Pakistan following the Pahalgam terror attack. Now, India has severed ties with the country, saying that business as usual cannot continue under the current circumstances. Even as the boycott continues, the BMC has now terminated a deal with an entity linked to Turkey. In fact, Turkey's airlines, hospitality firms have been hit hardest as India gives the country a escape and cancels earlier bookings. Here's a special report by my colleagues on the latest development. Take a look.
That love for Pakistan and its backed terror will come at a cost. There will be no business as usual with backers of terrorism. India has unleashed a series of economic strikes on Ankara as a payback for over 350 drones and tactical support it provided to Pakistan during Operation Sindoor. In the latest, Mumbai's civic body has scrapped its contract with Turkish firm for robotic lifebuoys for its beaches. This has come after the Bureau of Civil Aviation Security revoked clearance for Turkey's Chalabi Aviation. Air India and Indigo moved to end their partnerships with Turkish Airlines. From Turkish chocolates to fashion labels, Indian shelves are going bare. Online platforms like Myntra and Ajio have removed labels like Cotton, Mavi and LC Waikiki apparel, while FMCG distributors, which represent 4.5 lakh retailers, have declared a 2,000 crore rupee boycott on Turkish food and personal care products. Meanwhile, tourism has nosedived. Tour aggregator Make My Trip says for May 2025, cancellations in bookings to Turkey and Azerbaijan jumped by 250%. Ease My Trip, meanwhile, reported a 22% increase in cancellations for Turkey. Traders and customers across India are even boycotting fruits and dry fruits coming from Turkey. Basically, if it's Turkish, it's being phased out. Even academia isn't untouched. Student exchange programs with Turkish universities cancelled by IIT Bombay, JNU, Jamia and more. The impact has also reached the cultural space. The Confederation of All India Traders has appealed to Indian production houses to stop filming and stop promotional activities in Turkey.
With this, India asserts that this isn't about bans or bluster. It's about influence and intent. India is choosing who to engage with more carefully. And for countries engaging with India, whether diplomatically, economically or culturally, the message is subtle but firm. Mutual respect matters and choices have consequences. Parmeshwar Bava for NDTV World.
Now, tracking some of the international stories, Ukraine's security service is claiming that it has damaged the foundations of the Kerch Bridge that links Russia and Crimea just hours ago. Now, the bridge that Ukraine claims to have damaged is a key artery for Russian military supplies and was also being used in the conflict against Ukraine. As for Ukraine's security service, it detonated 1,100 kilograms of explosives on the seabed overnight, damaging the bridge's foundations in an operation that took several months to set up. Now, the SBU added that it was the third Ukrainian strike on the bridge since February 2022, since the beginning of the war. Meanwhile, the Russian social media channels have been reported the traffic across the Kerch Bridge that was halted for 3 hours early Tuesday morning, but reopened at 9 a.m. Even as India is moving steadily towards allowing satellite internet providers such as Elon Musk's Starlink to operate in the country, Communications Minister Jyotiraditya Scindia, in an exclusive conversation with NDTV Profit, said that the Telecom Ministry is company agnostic and customer-centric in its approach. Scindia also highlighted that players such as OneWeb and Reliance already hold Satcom licenses and Starlink is very close to receiving theirs, emphasizing that there is no duopoly in India's telecom sector. Listen in to an excerpt from the conversation.
Vodafone Idea is the third private player in the country. There is an argument for not turning the whole space into a duopoly. But on the other hand, it is taxpayers' money which will be used to bail out Vodafone if it needs to be further bailed out. Is there, in essence, an issue with two large players and a duopoly in your view?
Tamanna, I think you've been following me for a number of years. Prior to this, I was in another portfolio where this question came up all the time, and that was civil aviation. Civil aviation is not a duopoly, and neither is telecom a duopoly. We have 4 players in India. There are very few countries in the world, if you actually do a comp analysis of players across the world, there are very few countries that can boast of 4 players that have a national network in their countries. And India stands out as a country that has 4 players. That is the status today, and I believe that should be the status going forward as well, because my job is to make sure that the customers have choice.
What does Starlink bring to the table from an Indian telecom sector perspective? Of course, they want access to our markets. What's the benefit for the space?
Let me say this, that I am company agnostic. I am customer centric, just like in civil aviation or in the telecom service provider space or in the ISP space or the fixed wireless access space. My job is to ensure that I provide choice to the consumer. And India is ready for Satcom service delivery. All players across the world are welcome as long as they comply with our regulations, they check the boxes and are ready to perform business in India. All are welcome in India. Satellite as a service has immense potential and immense need in a country, in any country, be it India or any other country across the world. And the reason for that is twofold. One, there are certain areas across the globe which cannot be provided telephony through either RAN, radio access network.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is the big moment in IPL history. IPL finally has a new champion, and their name is Royal Challengers Bengaluru. RCB has clinched their maiden IPL title. This is the 18th season, the number 18 for Royal Challengers Bangalore, the season number 18 for Royal Challengers Bangalore. Virat Kohli, the man who wears number 18, he has finally landed his first ever IPL trophy. Virat Kohli has finally got the last trophy that he never won. In fact, these are the scenes that you can see from outside the Narendra Modi Stadium. People celebrating, people who have waited for 18 long years, people who have believed in the Royal Challengers Bengaluru team, people who have believed in Virat Kohli, and people who always supported the men in red. People who always believed in the men in red. Royal Challengers Bengaluru, they had reached the finals 3 times before this, but this time it was different. Royal Challengers Bengaluru have finally done it. They have clinched their maiden IPL title. The fireworks are going off. Virat Kohli is celebrating. Shreyas Iyer is basically disheartened. And why not? He has led his team in a superb manner. The man of the moment, Krunal Pandya, and what a performance it was from him. He was the one who changed the course of this game. Virat Kohli celebrating, Krunal Pandya celebrating, AB de Villiers, who has been an integral part of the Bengaluru team for such a long time, celebrating with the team. Look at the relief on the face of Virat Kohli. He knows what he has done. He knows what Bengaluru has done. They have finally made it. They have reached the pinnacle of the summit of the IPL. They have done it for the very first time. RCB has lifted the cup after 18 years.